Hello, good day, and welcome to another conversations on health. How are you doing, Dr. Bastian?
Hello, Natalia. Hello, Burton. And we want to say to all our listeners, we're doing the best we can, and we are extremely happy to be here today.
We are indeed. Talking about health and wellness and understanding better how we can live longer lives is it's really an amazing experience, if I may say so myself. And thank you so much, Dr. Bastian, for considering to do this episode once again. Conversations on health. You know.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It's a need.
Excellent.
It's a need. Our people need information, and there are a lot of research all over the world that have been done and that are not being made available to the general public. And the type of key information we make in bookshelves, in libraries, in file cabinets. But our people need to know because science is not is progressing, evolving. So what we thought was the truth in the past, science has evolved to reveal to us that there is more behind what we used to think. A very quick example, Natalia. They used to think that the central nervous system was a type of stable a structure that was not subjected to any type of evolution and progress and changes. But now we know the nervous system can renew itself. The same thing about our genes. We used to think that the gene, as it presents itself, cannot be changed. But now, with the science, the genetic and the evolution of genetic science, we know that the genes can be affected. That's what we come up now with what we call epigenetics. So there are so many things.
Mm,
We are living in a very exciting moment.
yeah, and it shows how diverse the human creation is, or this human experience is. Everything. I mean, just as you said, there are a lot of studies in laboratories, and the information is not being made present. So we give thanks to those persons who would have gone in the past and tried to find out more about our existence. That now you and me and other persons around can now get that information to develop it some more. Because I think we're always developing. What do you think about that, Doc?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have to make a difference between evolution and transformation. We are evolving, of course, but we are not evolving as if we are changing the standard basic principle of our being.
Form. Yeah.
Yeah, so uh, evolutionism brought to us a type of very conflicting ideas. Uh, for all those years, thousands of years, when we look at the human nature has not evolved. Really, we still have the same genetic structure, the same appearance, but we're still looking for the crossing from the monkey to the human. We're still looking for it. Yeah, but there must be a lot of similarity when it comes to physiological function, and we see that. That's why we can have a lot of experience with rats in laboratories, with cats, animals, dogs. But according to the country, those things, those type of experimental procedures are forbidden because now we know with the study of of animals, we know that animals have emotion, and you can see cats, dogs, those animals have emotion. But it's not only those.
Yeah.
Uh, all the other animals, the mammals, the birds, they have emotions. Even a snake has emotion. So we
Yeah.
reptilian. So we are in a very wonderful position now to come up with an open mind and to say, well, let's study. Nature is a book that God has given us. Let's study nature. and let's try to understand. And with enough wisdom, we will acquire the knowledge, the understanding, and we will learn to live better with nature. But man seems very reluctant to comply with the laws of nature. And many things are happening. We are fighting each other. We lying to each other. We faking a lot of things that do not exist. And we are about greed. And there are so many conflicting emotional values that make that put ourselves, that put our humanity at risk. So now our attempt with conversation on health is to bring a minimum of light so that with that information we can learn to relate better to each other, and we will finally realize that we need each other badly to live together, to enjoy life, and to make this earth a best place to be. So that's why I said reluctantly, I will never stop bringing that type of information because really, look at you and me. It has been almost 10 years since we have that session, and look at we are back to the same place because of the love for humanity, love for science, love for truth. That's what brings us together, and that mindset is the mindset of the future.
100%, 100%. I get you, and I totally agree. To know that the desire that we have for wellness and to care and to love, it still remains the same, and it keeps growing. It's really amazing. So awesome. Let me welcome our viewers that are viewing on YouTube at Wilson's Music Center. Of course, share this video. All right, we are quick. Um, we are going to talk about health education. I mean, that's the basis of all of this, you know. Is health education the path for better health? Is health education the path for better health? I would have a
Well,
basic answer. 100%, Dr. Bastian. 100%.
let's if you have a kind of pandemic as we had for COVID, for example, and you remember the government were uh, tried attempted to make the vaccination mandatory. Okay, they decided to come up with a solution, and we know the saga, the COVID saga, and Kennedy, the Secretary of Health, actually in the United States, took Bill Gates and Fauci to court, and because he was not in agreement with the COVID vaccine, and the pandemic was man-made. So all those things prove us that if the general public were was well educated, better educated, if our government agencies had the gut to stand for the truth, a lot of people would not be dying now in Tobago. Because a lot of people in Tobago are dying now because of the vaccine, the side effect of the vaccine. And Fauci himself said that the effect of the vaccine will be seen long after the vaccine season, 4, 5 years, even 7 years. And you have a generation of babies that are born whose parents have been vaccinated. They are born with a black eye, call them the black eye babies. Those are the effects. And of that, there is the inoculation of the graphene oxide, which is a nanoparticles that is give, I don't know who, but give them remote control of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion, even your physiological condition. So the vaccine has so many implications. It was kind of attempt for global domination and a global population reduction as well. So if the general public was better educated, they would be in a position where they don't subject themselves to any health mandatory measure or decision. Your health is too serious to let it uh, at the mercy of government agency. The government agency should have the responsibility to provide the general education to the and to empower the general public to make their own decision. That's what we should do. Any type of health institutions, governmental health institution, should take the responsibility to educate the general public. That's what I think. And there is a lot of benefits to that. So health education is definitely the path. It's cheaper because the government has to invest on the educational structure uh, to educate the public, and the public would be empowered to take care of themselves better. That would lead to healthier citizens and citizens more responsible for their health, and also better educated, and those people better educated health wise would be in a position to raise families that are healthier. And healthy family means economic growth. Uh, Healthy families means intellectual development. Healthy families means high moral values. Healthy family means uh, more social stability. So that's what I said. For me, the health education is a better path to a more prosperous, healthy, and stable society. That's my point.
Excellent. Agreed, 100%, because it's a holistic experience, you know?
Yeah, yes, and there is even more. There is even more, much more. Now,
But it's,
when you give,
uh-huh. Go ahead. Hmm.
yeah, when you general public the power to take care of themselves, I'm not saying you don't need the doctors. I don't say that you don't need hospitals. You need those public centers. You need those public institutions. But the point is now, look at what is happening now in Tobago. When you go to the emergency department of the hospital, you have no place to put people. And Tobago, there are not so many people. So the structure, the institutions that we have, will never be able to attend or to answer to the need of the population. And although we come up with a lot of scientific strategies, we come up with hospital standard procedures to adjust the need of the general population. But any expert in public health will be the first to agree that no matter how hard we try from a political standpoint, from governmental approach, to put in place institutions that could meet the need of the general public, that will never be enough because you have the children, you have the family, you have the elderly. How can any human institutions or political public policy, public health policy, uh, meet the need, the expectation of such a diverse category of humans of population? Their needs are different. So a public service cannot really meet all those needs. But if that public service take the initiative to educate the general public and to give them,
Okay.
to empower them to participate in the health process, a huge burden will be taken off the back of the government. And that's what I said. it's time for us to begin to think because knowledge is changing. The same principles that the doctor used to use in the past to address the need of the population health wise, those things have changed. You know, a doctor graduated in 1960 cannot compete now with the remote, with the technology, with the AI that we have in medicine. So this doctor, he said, can you still continue to call him doctor? Yes, he was a doctor. But if he cannot adjust to society, to technology, the way it's growing now, in a matter of 10 years time, the doctor is, if the doctor doesn't continue to educate himself, he's out. He's out because the interpretation of disease process and the evolution of pharmacology and also the gradual acknowledgement of holistic medicine and the power of alternative medicine in the landscape of healthcare right now is so big that you cannot ignore it. You cannot ignore those changes. So if a doctor doesn't become a nutritionist now, because realizing now it's metabolic process that take place that is in the system, it's metabolic process that are responsible for a lot of degenerative conditions, even the strength of the immune system. It's metabolic processes that
Yeah.
are in the picture that need to be addressed, or anything referring to metabolic process refer to nutrition. And the air, the air we breathe, food we eat, all those things are part of our nutrition. Uh, So there is a need for that educational approach. Yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dr. Bastian. But, you know, are there some serious conflicts between westernized medicine and hospital standard procedures? For instance, like legalized medicine and other patient personal needs.
absolutely. The conflict is
Tell us
in our
about that.
face. Oh yes, the conflict is in our on a daily
Yeah.
basis. I mean, for example, Western hospital standard procedures. What does that mean? Hospital standard procedures. Hospital standard procedures means that the doctor, when you train as a medical doctor, when you reach the stage where you've been licensed and practice, what are you going to do? What is your philosophy of medical practice? And what are the path you're going to follow? Well, the doctor must take into consideration when we refer to hospital standard procedures. The doctor must refer to pathology. Pathology, that means the mechanism of the disease. Uh, and you have semiology, which is the study of sign and symptoms. And the third one, you have pharmacology. Pharmacology, you have to prescribe a drug. And as a matter of fact, this is very strange to see that the medical act is defined by the prescription of a drug. If there is no drug prescribed, there is no medical act, which is completely foolish for me.
Mm, right.
Yeah, you have to, and you have to recommend something that is part of the codex. So there is no medical act if there is no prescription of a drug. The prescription of the drug is the key element that defines the medical act. And thank God it's like that. But do we need drug to heal? No. The drug is there to suppress symptoms. And all the doctors, they know that they will refer to the drug not to heal, not to cure. Otherwise, all the people suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure, and all those hypertensive drugs they have been taking and anti-diabetic drugs they've been taking, all those drugs prescribed should heal the patients. But you take your metformin, you continue to be diabetic. Uh,
Yeah.
take your amlodipine, you continue to be hypertensive. So they know that those drugs do not heal anything, but suppress the symptoms, help you to cope with life. So is there a conflict? Of course, there is a conflict because the expectation of the patient is to be healed, is not to live with the disease while taking a drug. Automatically, the patient is confined into a position where he's taking that hypertensive active drug for 15 years. And oh, yes, my blood pressure is under control. Under control of what? The drug is major symptom. You are hypertensive, and what could be the most of there is a need for oxygen by the brain. The brain needs oxygen, and the lack of oxygen will trigger the blood pressure. What could be the reason why your blood is not receiving the proper supply of oxygen? Well, you can have clogged arteries. You can have clogged arteries. You can have chronic inflammatory condition. You can have brain allergies. There are so many factors involved. So you cannot control that. That's why they talk about essential high blood pressure and non-essential high blood pressure. So, but
Right.
those type of jargon seems to reveal that the doctor is on the top of his game. Uh, no, not necessarily, because most of the doctor train, if they don't go to school to study nutrition, those doctors cannot really address the need of the general population because nutrition take into consideration the metabolic process. The metabolic process, that means nutrition means the food that you receive, the information that you get must be transformed by your own system. The doctors are not trained in nutrition. At the curriculum microbiology career or diseases. Um, Life is a result of metabolic processes, not a result of drug prescribed. So there is a conflict between westernized medicine, legal medicine, and the real need of the general population. And that gap needs to be bridged. And that's what we attempt to do when we decide to have that conversation on health. Uh, we are bringing information. You see, I had an experience. I was living in Paris in 1990, 1991. Yes, 1990, 1991. I spent 1 year going to the public library of Georges Pompidou in Paris. And there are some sectors in that public library. It's highly sophisticated. And that's what I about the French. You have the result, the communication of all the research that have been made by the CNRS, Centre National de Recherche Scientifique, CNRS, Centre National de Recherche, CNRS. Well, there you find the communications of all the made by several universities in France about several health topics, but that are not divulged to the general public. Even many doctors, they are so busy, they don't have time to consult those type of research in order to adjust their practice according to the new discovery and research. Me, I said, if I want to do something good for the long term, let me go and explore those researches and then and compile them. So I ended up having to make copies of all those research and monographs, and that has completely changed my philosophy, my understanding of the practice of medicine. I said the best a doctor can do is to become a health educator instead of being a drug, I would say, push supplier. Because when you prescribe the drug, if you take the PDR, the physician desk reference, all right, the physician desk reference, that show, give you the evidence that for one or two paragraphs of benefit of a drug, you're going to have 10, 15 pages of side effect of the drug. So anybody in their right mind will see that the approach, the therapeutic approach, the pharmacological approach, is not beneficial to mankind. Of course, it makes you, there's a lot of money involved. But if you can have 15 pages of side effect for same drug, how can you, because of the benefit of two or three paragraphs, and you're going to prescribe that to your patient? You see, there are a lot of practices in our condition right now that are not acceptable scientifically, but legally it's acceptable. So the general population is led to believe to, okay, I have to go to the doctor, I have to say to do what the doctor is saying because it's legal, but it's not necessarily beneficial. It's legal. That's very important. It's legal, okay, but not beneficial. Because if I'm going to take a drug to lower my blood pressure, and that same drug that I'm taking for my blood pressure is going to give me failure, why should I take it? Only the kidney failure will return with the high pressure, but I end up having to do dialysis to address the problem. At the beginning, it was the concern was to lower the blood pressure, but now the blood pressure doesn't come down, but my kidney is failing. This is the reality that we're dealing with. That's what I said. We definitely need to do something about that. Why do we deliberately choose to discard nature? Why do we deliberately choose not to educate people about foraging? Foraging, that means that greenery around us, all those plants, those herbs, they have properties. Do you know that the pharmaceutical industry uh, is not that old? It's just come from 1950. The pharmaceutical industry is not that old. So, but it became legal in the 60s, the 60, 65, 1965. That's why they begin to impose, to make mandatory a lot of conditions, a lot of requirements that didn't exist before. So that's where, because greed and bribing the office make something that is not scientific, something not beneficial to the general public. They made it mandatory. That's where now the best approach is to educate. When the general public is well educated, they will be empowered to make their own decision. And this is our philosophy, and that this is our love, because we respect ourselves, we respect the human nature, we respect the creator. God created us, and the herb he will serve for the healing of the nations. The nation said, no, we don't need your herbs. We need to create our own stuff. And that's where we are now. So it's time for us, at least if we are confined, compelled to make certain decisions, to make certain choice, we need to be educated. And there are enough, I would say, educative tools. We don't need all the time to have a blood test to detect certain disease or certain type of infections. There are other signs, and that's where semiology comes in the picture. And even certain type of infectious condition are detected. Our arsenal, pharmacological arsenal, that means the medicine that we haven't synthesized yet, the type of medicine that could eradicate certain type of infections. But guess what? Nature has it. Essential oils have it. In that sense, when it comes to essential oils, that's something that should be studied in when it comes to the study of infectious disease. But the point is they cannot put a patent on the structure of infectious disease because it's not something they can synthesize themselves. And when you have synthetic oils that they use, the synthetic oils come up with specific terpenes that are synthetic terpenes that the liver cannot accept. This is the conflict. Greed and humanitarian options for the benefit of mankind. That's where the conflict is.
Yeah.
And
And
we, yes, go ahead.
yes, yeah, and it's a business. It's a business really. And we're caught up into this chain cycle of this manufacturing business. And some people still classify it as slavery because of that. Right? So we start this busy life. We're up and down every day. So we take these things to live for, as you said, you take the tablets for your diabetes, for your hypertension, because you have to live, you have to continue this cycle, right? But the reality, you can live otherwise, and that's what you're saying, yes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you cannot, a lot of people think, well, you see, they've been extremely, I would say, not all. They, to bring you to believe that the doctor is doing is scientific, while the nature that God created not scientific. Come on, let's be serious. You see, but I have to, you know, express my appreciation for the United States government. Uh, you see, America is a great country because they come up with in 1994 with what we call the DSHEA. Okay, this is a specific decree for health education, and in 1994, Congress came up with that law basically that encourage all institutions, all health practitioners to educate the general public about the use of vitamins, herbs, and everything pertaining to health. That's what the DSHEA 1994 is all about. Everybody can consult that. DSHEA. The, that means the Health Education Act, the decree of the Health Education Act 1994, published by Congress in the United States of America. So that gives, for example, my company, KENOR International, that legal found to pursue education. We practice medicine. We do not promote medical treatment with drugs. We promote health through education. This is the DSHEA, the 1994. So now you can say everything. America is extremely powerful when it comes to drug distribution and to money making. It's the land of opportunities, a lot of things like that. But you see, what is good with America? America, if you are educated, America gives you the freedom of choice. Well, they will come and impose to your government and your agent, your politicians, when they want to be rich, they will compromise all their values. They will choose to kill you to make their money. And a lot of that has been seen during the COVID saga. You see prime minister making decisions that goes against their own constituents. So we've seen that. But in many countries, they've done that. In France, it's not only even in the United States, you've seen the president going to be vaccinated, all those things to encourage people to get the vaccine. And you cannot go to any public commercial centers without showing that you've been vaccinated or without wearing your mask. But all those things are there to show you that the idea of making health measures mandatory is a risky business. But let's go back to this DSHEA, the Health Act in 1994. It gives general public, and that's what America will be a big loss uh, to lose America, because America is really a precious country with according to the possibilities that is given when it's on health. I would say resources. You have the best manufacturing center to natural medicine. You have laboratories that in the quality of natural products, nutraceuticals. You have laboratory like Metagenics. You have laboratories like Garden of Life. Uh, you have laboratories like Zymogen. You have a lot of powerful, good laboratories that nutraceuticals. I'm not talking about pharmaceuticals, but thanks to that DSHEA 1994 published by Congress, that made that possible for the natural alternative medicine to reach a level of development that never seen in the world. The best place to find the best product is when it's made in America, when it comes to natural medicine. But don't also don't be surprised that this is the place you're going to find the worst product, product made when it comes to when it refers to alternative medicine. So that's the general public need to be educated about which company, which brand is giving you, is delivering to you the best product to use without any side effect. But you have the FDA regulate to a certain extent. The FDA, as again, is limited. A lot of people put out there a lot of products. They say this is America again. They said non-regulated FDA, but they put it out in the market, the free trade act. So it's a place where you can whatever you want. It's called the condition on these products is put on the market. But before even the industry put Lipitor on the market for a certain period of time, a lot of money out of Lipitor. After a few years, they come back and remove Lipitor from the shelves. Come on. And what happened to all those people that had been exposed to Lipitor during all that period? What happened to them? What happened to them? Okay, they've been exposed to Lipitor, and now after a certain period of time, you say, "Oh, Lipitor suit for the general public anymore. Let's remove it." And we're talking about pharmaceutical drug pretending to be scientific. So we have all those issues, and that's why I said, you know what, the best approach is to educate the general public, and that will help mitigate the result of the conflict that naturally need to exist. So if man take the initiative to put in place institutions and educational structure to educate the general public, well, that will be a great move because the people will be empowered, they will be more involved, they will develop a level of consciousness, of empowerment and a commitment to their health management. So we have many aspects. We have the legal aspect because United States control the world when it comes to health. This is the place we can find the best natural product, a better price. Okay, and so the best pharmaceutical industry can be found in United States. So you get of the world in United States. That doesn't mean that United States standard of care is the best. Unfortunately, we know that United States is ranked 17 when it comes to the delivery of standard of care. 17 for a country so powerful, it hurts. It hurts. It definitely hurts. But what do you want? You have country like France, you have country like Switzerland, you have country like Japan. Those are high ranking country when it comes to health standard. So we need to know those things. Here again, there is a need for health education. Now, I'm talking about the institutional aspect, but now when it comes to the science of medicine, it's a different story. You will see your doctor is extremely limited. He's going to we use the blood as the resources for health investigative approach. But we know that the blood, all the doctors, they know that the blood is a homeostatic tissue. Homeostatic tissue means that the blood is all the time compelled to maintain a certain level of purity because the blood is a tissue, is a vehicle, and that is highly protected. It, the cancer can be all over the place, the infection can be all over the place, but the blood is a tissue that is highly protected because life is in the blood. So that means that the blood will be the last tissue to reveal completely, thoroughly what's going on with the body. So if you rely upon the blood to detect the disease, don't you see that many times you go to the doctor, you get the blood test done, and this comes back with no indication of the condition that you experience. And the doctor say, whoa, well, there is nothing, the blood, we have to wait. Go for 6 months and come back later. Why he's doing that? Because he's waiting for the scientific evidence to confirm that effectively the disease, that the symptom that you present is connected to the physiological process connected to the disease. But he cannot make a decision. He cannot make it that decision scientifically. He cannot make that decision legally because he has to have the evidence, scientific evidence that the disease, the blood really discloses the cause of the symptoms. But in the meantime, what is happening to you? Well, if the disease is progressing and it cannot be seen in the blood, that doesn't mean the disease stop expanding, evolving. The disease will continue. So the blood is not the only parameter we need to refer to when it comes to the diagnosis or to the diagnostication of any type of disease. So we need, we need we need to have that moderate, uh, intelligent approach when it comes to investigative tools that we can use. That's why I refer myself as a powerful educational tool to what we call the quantum scanner. The quantum scanner take into consideration the electromagnetic field of the body. The electromagnetic field has a frequency, and it goes not only for tissues, for organs, for viscerals, but it goes for cells, it goes also for nutrients, it goes for minerals, it goes for amino acids, because each type of those substances, each one of them, they have their own vibrational frequency, and that can be detected by the quantum scanner. So, what are we doing here? We are explaining to the genomic that there are a lot of people when us, do you do blood tests? As if the blood test is the ultimate uh, proof to confirm if the disease is there or not. Many diseases are there and the blood cannot reveal it. We need to know that. While other investigative tools can really reveal what's going on. So education come right there in the picture. We need to be educated. We need to be informed. And that's not the privilege of the doctor only. That's the privilege of each father, each mother, each family. We need to start educating our children about their body from the start. Help them play with skeletons, show them, explain to them the nature of the bones, the nature of the muscle, the nature of the different functions. Because like that, we become acquainted to our own being. And by knowing the way our body functions, we will develop more respect and we will have a need to understand the way the body functions and what we need to do, what lifestyle to adopt in harmony while respecting the body functions. All of us, we're suffering because our body schedule conflict with our work schedule. Can you imagine some people they have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work? It doesn't make sense. Your body schedule want you to stay in bed from 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning, but at 4 o'clock you're already up. What about 5, 5 a.m.? So those are the type of conflict that really reveal that health education is mandatory. Let me, if there is nothing, if you cannot be mandatory when it comes to health, but I would say we should make health education mandatory. That's the only thing I would accept as being mandatory. I'm sorry, I'm taken out completely when when it comes to see the passion. I'm gone, Natoya. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I agree 100%. We probably need to print some t-shirts, make health education mandatory. I definitely think we should do that. We could probably start a petition because it helps you understand who you are. It helps you understand who I mean, when you're starting a family, if it is you have been listening from the first program, you would understand so many things is required of us as a man and woman as we prepare to have a family, to bring a child into the world. All of these things can be made possible and help us understand better once we have health education, right? So in the absence of that, we have what we have now, which is the chaotic world, right? Persons living on medication, persons just trying to really survive. And once you're living in survival mode, your nervous system is at a different space, as you know, Dr. Bashin would have said as well, you know. So understanding your metabolic profile through health education as well helps you understand who you are and how you can serve this human shell better. Yes, so let's print some t-shirts. Make health education mandatory. Yeah.
Well, I would agree for that. Yes,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And when to the metabolic profile again, how many times that you go to your doctor and the doctor ask you, he doesn't even ask you about your blood type. He doesn't ask you. It's just this is that
No.
symptom you get. I'm going to that. That's it. It can be like that because your metabolic profile is important. Your blood type is important. The
Yes.
first question the doctor should ask: do you know your blood type? Do you know your metabolic profile? They never those questions. Of course, there's the emergency. You're suffering, you're in pain, you need a painkiller. So they're going to prescribe that. I only need to meet the emergency of the moment. But what about the long term? And a lot of people are killing themselves because they don't know anything about their blood type. They don't know anything about their metabolic profile. So here again, the work of the educational protocol, the educational program. And health education for me is massively the key, the answer to those things. Can you imagine that in a family, uh, everybody has its own metabolic profile. The father has its own metabolic profile. The mother has its own metabolic profile. The children have their own metabolic profile. And that's
Of
what you
course.
need to take into consideration before you put in place the diet of the family. What is the dietary plan for so many people with so many different metabolic profiles? You should be able, when you are educated, and that's the benefit of being well educated when it comes health educated, you need to find a dietary plan that mitigate, that can meet the expectation, that can be accepted by the different metabolism. This possibility exists, but for you to come up with a solution like that, you need to be educated because there are different type of food. What do I mean by metabolic? Metabolic profile is something defined by your genetic combination will require that you consume a certain percentage of carb, a certain percentage of lipid, a certain percentage of protein. But not every uh, share the ability to consume the same percentage, and that is important to know. It's important to know, and that will bring the family closer because you could sit down and discuss the type of food, the way we're gonna organize, the way we're going to organize our life. You see, people get together. Okay, you are in love. You are in love. You meet each other. But do you know that you have more than 23 different diseases that you have that you are exposed to each time that you kiss your partner? So if you are a multiple partner kisser, you're in trouble because you're going to expose yourself to more than 23 different diseases when you kiss. Did you know that? Well, how are you going to know that if you are not exposed to health education? Keep kissing left and right, not knowing that you're exposed to many things. Okay, that's why I say when you choose your partner to, please don't multiply. Take your time before you kiss, and, and
Oh,
but make sure that this is the one that you're going to stay with. Okay, all those things are important. Uh, 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 this is those are the type of information we need to have, and I'm so glad that Daverton and yourself, Nato, you dedicate time to make that program possible. Because if by kissing you expose yourself to more than 23 different diseases. Now, what about the diet on a daily basis? You get married and you live with your husband. He has his own metabolic profile, and as I explained, the metabolic profile is the ability, your genetic ability, to consume a certain percentage of a food when it comes to protein, lipids, and carbs. So you don't identify those. You're going to impose a diet that present a high percentage of carb, and why your child can only be exposed to a reduced percentage of carb. So automatically you're going to create conflict, and that is going to create a lot of metabolic waste because you won't be able to break down all the disease to the ultimate stages. So this is the type of problem that we're dealing with on a daily basis. And the medical community doesn't take those approach into consideration. Those are daily basis because when it comes to medicine, you identify the symptoms, you listen to the patient, and you connect that with your pathological knowledge, and then you direct that to the sign and symptom semiology and then the drugs. It doesn't work. This is a pattern, this is a model that is not working. when it comes to the biochemical individuality, when it comes to the person by itself. The person is not taken into consideration. You try to do something to standardize a condition. It doesn't work like that. We are not standard. We're not a statistic. This is the point. And we need to bring back into the practice of medicine the biochemical individuality, the biochemical profile, the metabolic profile. We need to bring those things into perspective. And the best way to do it is by education, by exposing people, by uh, introducing them to health education act. You see, that's what I said. I love United States because of the GSHEA 94. That makes it possible to educate people about vitamins, minerals, and herbs and plants, all those things. That law exists in the United States. So they don't discard the institution, but they make it possible for us to do the work that we're doing now. So uh, we have to be extremely careful, and also need to be, because there is a legal authorization to do certain type of things. And if there is a misunderstanding, you need to make your research. You need to investigate. But what we do is highly scientific, and that's what I said. There is a doctor, Dr. Annelise Hellman. She's the one that came up with the metabolic profile. And she has written a huge thesis about the metabolic profile. Annelise Bittelman. And there is a survey that is available for anyone to identify the metabolic profile. That's what I said. The education is something extremely important. You know, we should not accept the status quo as it is now. We have a responsibility. We have to take care of our children. We have to take care of our wife, husband. We have to take care of our family. We need to show a higher level of responsibility when it comes to the management of our family health. It's not something that you responsibility that you delegate only to the doctor. That's not the doctor's job to what is the best diet for the children. Does your doctor tell you that during the puberty phase the diet must change? Not only the diet must change, but the diet must be according to the biochemical profile of the kid, according to the blood type of the child. Your pediatrician will not mention those things to you unless we come and we discuss it as we're doing it now. And I'm
Correct.
talking not about the general public. I'm talking about doctors, lawyers, police officers, people that are high ranked in society, and they don't do those things with their own children. And later on, they are surprised to see that the child become a delinquent because the food affect the brain, and the brain the behavior. We don't pay attention to the key elements because the government, there is no institution, there is no university. The Ivy League university do not refer you to that approach. So this is the situation. So that's why I said
Yeah.
your profile is important for biochemical individuality. The metabolic profile is one, but the biochemical individuality is another one. The biochemical individuality means that certain people they need more protein than others. Certain people they need more carb than others. This is chemistry. I'm talking about
Excellent.
carbons. I'm talking about essential amino acid. I'm talking about essential fatty acid. So some people they need more fatty acid than others. Other people they need more essential amino acid than others. Other people they need more carbs than others. Do you know that we have three types? Essential carbohydrate, yes. Okay. And
Yes.
the essential carbohydrates are extremely important when it comes to the apoptosis. Apoptosis is the ability for the body to protect itself, to perform its own chemotherapy. That's what apoptosis is. Now, if your child need to be connected to the specific uh, ability to process carb, protein, or lipid, and you don't know that, and you keep feeding the child with only ground provision. The child needs essential amino acid. You don't even know where to find the essential amino acid. That's why the last time we referred to goat milk. A glass of goat milk after each meal can provide this child with the all essential amino acid that he needs according to his biochemical individuality.
Yeah.
Where do you go to find those type of consideration with your medical visit? All the diseases that we experience are the results of the misunderstanding, are the result of our ignorance of those laws. So that's why it's so important to have that discussion today.
Excellent.
So,
And I'm glad that we're having it. Yes.
yeah, uh, so far so good, but we need we need to get into a different level of medicine. It's a beautiful
100%.
medicine. Yes,
100%. Yeah.
yes, it's a beauty.
Um,
Yes,
I love you're on a roll, Doc, and it's amazing. It's amazing that you always get so passionate when it is you're sharing this information, and it shows this is your destiny, this is who you are, and this is what you want to do for society and humankind, and we really appreciate that. Yes?
you. Thank you.
Yes, yes, but we have come to the end of today's conversations on health. So I wanted to share with our viewers and those who are listening and those who would be listening back to this video, of course, you can get your metabolic profile, then you could get a free scan done rather at KENOR International Tobago. You can make contact at 482-3392, 482-3392, right? At KENOR International Tobago, and basically get your process started to get your metabolic profile done, right? Dr. Bastian would be the one that would go through this process with you, and you will start the new journey of your life. All right, let me also tell you about not conversations, common food with wonderful healing properties. All right, Dr. Bastian's book, right? It's available for sale at KENOR International Tobago, and you can get this book for $4.95 this December. All right, I would also be at the Lowlands Mall, Courts Lowlands Mall in Gulf City on this Friday, where you can get a copy of Dr. Bastian's book, and you can get it with all the information. Dr. Kenny Bastian would have wrote this book, right? So you could get a copy of this book this Friday at the Lowlands Mall. Yes. So yes, this is Conversations on Health. Today's edition. Dr. Bastian, you have any closing remarks?
Yes, this book is extremely important. It's like a vademecum. You see, a vademecum is
Yeah.
like the bag doctor always carry with him, no matter where he goes. We call it vademecum. And this book give you several charts of the distribution of the different nutrients in each type of food that you have on the market. So if you want celery, you know exactly how much sodium, potassium, carbohydrate that you're going to find in that celery. For 100 gram of celery, you're going to have certain concentration in milligram of potassium, of sodium, for example. So this is something that it's good to know, so that when you know the doctor says you have too much sodium in your system, you get your blood test and you say, oh, too much sodium. It's because I've been using a lot of celery. The celery is high in sodium, but what we need to know also that sodium is organic. But there are so many things to learn. That's why I said this program is unique. I want to thank you all, Daverton. I want to thank you, Naturia, to bring, and I want to give glory to my God, the Almighty God, that possible to bring that information. available to the general public. And thank you again.
Yes, indeed. Right, you guys can hear me now? All right, great. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Bastian, and thank you for everything that is working together for the good for this opportunity for conversations on health with the world-renowned Dr. Kenny Bastian. Information, health education, metabolic profile, all of these things are worthy of just really living better. All right, so join us next. Doc, are we going to have a program next week,
Yes.
Wednesday, or will this be the last one for this December?
Uh, it will be the last December, yes.
Okay. All right. So, guys, what I will do, I would share the link with you. You can share the link with your family whilst you're home for the holiday season. You can look at these videos, just understand who you are, how you can help yourself, how you can help your husband, how you can help your wife, how you can help your family. All right. Conversations on health is the way to go. And we are happy to have brought you this series. And we're looking forward to serving you, right? So remember, you can connect with KENOR International. They are located in Government House Road next to Bill Brown, right? The number is 482-3392. Give them a call and get your free consultation done so you can start to understand your metabolic profile and better serve your body, all right? Wishing you a great day and a happy December. Take care of yourselves and your family. All right, Dr. Bastian, take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Natasha.
much.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Excellent.